7:45 in the morning. It is a quarter away from 8 o'clock, and it's the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. Used to be we'd see Dana Henry around these studios quite often, but it's rare that we get the chance to visit with him in studio anymore, so it's good to have him with us again this morning. Our conversation this morning, presented by Marcus & Mack, voted Best Law Firm and Best Personal Injury Lawyer 3 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online at marcusandmack.com. So why is Mr. Henry with us this morning? Well, we want to have a little bit of a celebration of manufacturing in Indiana County. Manufacturing Day. Well, that was Friday, wasn't it?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Last week was Manufacturing Week in Indiana County. The Indiana County Commissioners proclaimed that back on the 25th of September. Mm-hmm. So a lot of activities last week, all concurring with Manufacturing Week. Indiana County Manufacturing Consortium is a major player in that celebration. Paul Wiffenbaugh from the Workforce Investment Board helps to run that that manufacturing consortium. It's been in Indiana since the year 2001. Mm-hmm. And back then, before she was county commissioner, Robin Gorman and Jack Clark from Clark Metal Products in Blairsville thought that we needed to have something to represent manufacturers. And so between the two of them, they put together the Manufacturing Consortium. It's been going ever since. Over 20 members. The celebration last week included a lot of radio advertising. We did advertising in the local newspaper, a two-page ad spread. Just a lot of things putting a spotlight on manufacturing here in Indiana County.
Yeah, and it's so important. It's such an important part of our economy. I have always been an advocate of manufacturing and the fact that, you know, those are the jobs that make retail really possible.
Yep.
And without them, without folks who are making things, why we're just trading money back and forth between one store to the next.
And we look in Indiana County at manufacturers, and as I said, Clark Metal Products in Blairsville, that's a manufacturer. We know that. How often do we think of Diamond Pharmacy Services as a manufacturer? In fact, they are. Mm-hmm. They're part of the Manufacturing Consortium. The manufacturing is the 8th largest industry in the United States. It's about $93.7 billion contributing to the GDP every year. And in Indiana County, we're trying to do our part. We're looking to, we would like to maintain the manufacturers we have, and we're also out looking to recruit manufacturers.
Yeah.
Because we've got the business parks that we have and the other locations in the county, we think that we're a good place to be, and we try to attract those manufacturers accordingly.
One of the interesting aspects of manufacturing in Indiana County to me is, yes, we have the infrastructure around the bigger towns in Indiana County, but there are small towns around this county that have people making things for others, making consumer goods, and because of it, those become real lifebloods for those small communities. They keep those communities going.
Well, we look at there's a little business called Eversole, and they provide the things you put in your shoes to make you walk better. And over the years, a lot of the sports teams have bought their product. Currently, Cronulla is using Eversole products, and that's an example of a small manufacturer. Looking Climber supports manufacturers, and in turn, places like Luigi's are successful because they've got manufacturers in the neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah. The industrial parks here in Indiana County are extremely important, and the county has recognized that by their commitment to the infrastructure that makes them possible. If you don't have roadways that go to and from those manufacturing facilities, if you don't have the electric, the sewage, all of the water, all of those different things that make those industrial parks such viable forces, then a lot of these companies never get started, let alone come to Indiana County.
Well, and I think in that category, broadband is so important to Indiana County, and so we're always talking about broadband. Why is it important? Why do we need it? That's the example, so that we can attract manufacturers to Indiana County. A lot of manufacturers, for instance, are located in Pittsburgh, in New York, etc., but they look at Indiana County because Indiana County has a strong broadband base, and so they can do their business very easily to the rest of the world.
When you think of manufacturing as well, you think of the centrality of Indiana County for the region, so that companies can base themselves here, and maybe their manufacturing facility is one in Armstrong County, one in Westmoreland or Cambria County. There's Indiana County in the middle between those two, and so it's a natural for them to locate here. The airport is another part of that whole formula, isn't it?
Back in the day, you remember we put such an emphasis on Route 22, the corridor from Indiana County to Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. Back then, we only had a 2-lane highway, if you want to call it that, going into Pittsburgh. We fought long and hard to do that. The folks that we voted for helped to make that possible. And as you say, look at the Indiana County Jimmy Stewart Airport right now. What's going on out there are improvements, and the improvements are helping to keep the manufacturers we have, and to have other manufacturers look at us. On a given day, to go out to Riziki Cafe for lunch, and you'd be amazed to see the planes and the helicopters that come and go on a daily basis. You sit next to guys who are pilots who've flown in from Rochester, New York, to do their business. They're there for lunch, and then they're flying home for the evening. So we've done the right things that way.
Indiana County is a strong manufacturing traditionally base, and the challenge becomes keeping it going. Certainly the power plants, they have a big role to play in that. But particularly highways and access to the towns, to the plants, all of those things, they become a major part of what we do. Now we've got 4 lanes of 119 between Indiana and Blairsville. We've got the 4-lane Route 22. Yep. They continue to look at what we might do to expand 119 north of Indiana County. That's a real challenge. 286, those ribbons of highways here in Indiana County are so very, very important, aren't they?
It all comes together. Look at workforce education. We're so blessed to be able to have the tech center here. We're so blessed to have the people in Blairsville that are doing their part in educating the workforce. So you put all the things together. So it's transportation, it's infrastructure, it's education. It's a natural place for a manufacturer to be located.
Yeah. All right. So let's look at the future of manufacturing in Indiana County. Certainly has its challenges.
Well, I think the challenges are worldwide, if you will. We'll do our part to keep the infrastructure in place, to educate the workforce, look at advanced manufacturing, look at I'm amazed at looking at the products now that have a battery backup. There's pretty much nothing in your home that you have that doesn't have some kind of a battery component, mm-hmm. and therefore you have places that need to make batteries. There's an attraction to come to Indiana County. Come here. It's clean manufacturing. Build your batteries here and stay here with your family.
Yeah, and lithium is such an important part of the future, and for many, many years it was said that the only places to get lithium were out of the United States and were to import lithium in, China being a big part of that, Ukraine being a big part of the lithium industry. Now they are finding applications for lithium using some products that were considered waste products yep. here in Western Pennsylvania that are here in plentiful supply. That might one day very soon be a lithium game changer for this region.
Well, the same way that we have a lot of gas and oil under us. Yeah. We're now, as you say, discovering things like lithium, which then becomes the attraction for coming to Indiana County because you can make your battery and because you've got oil and gas to support your fleet.
Well, we've been celebrating the whole concept of manufacturing here in Indiana County. I think it's a bright future. It's a future that's going to require an awful lot of work, continuing, ongoing work by a lot of people who are in the positions that in which they are. Specifically, I think because they pledged that they're going to continue to work on things like this, and we need those kind of folks.
And I think we have those things in place. We have the chamber, we have the Indiana County Center for Economic Operations, we have the tech center that I said. So we've got all of the pieces of the puzzle. We just now have to move forward and make sure the rest of the world knows about us.
Absolutely. Well, Dana Henry, it's been a good conversation. I'm glad you came in to visit with us and to talk about it. We tried to have something last week, but it didn't work out for us. But we needed to get that out to folks and to let them know manufacturing works.
And it's good now to review what happened last week. We had so much support from the county commissioners, for instance. County Commissioner Robin Gorman voiced the ads that we did this year. So we've got splendid support from all of our elected officials, Senator Pittman, Representative Struzzi. Everybody's in line. They all know how important manufacturing is, and in fact, a lot of them have a manufacturing experience. So it's good for Indiana County.
Indeed, it is. Dana Henry, thank you so much for coming to visit with us today.
Todd, thank you. It's a pleasure.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. It's 3 minutes away from 8 o'clock, and Fox News comes your way at the top of the hour. We're going to follow that with news from Josh Widdowson in our WCCS newsroom. It's a very, very busy day. We'll have the guys from GCES with us in our next half hour. Clinton Smith and Galen Bargerstock are on the way. It's Indiana in the Morning. It's WCCS. Good morning.